So, hi everyone, and welcome to Architecture in the Den with me, your host, Lisa Raynes. I am the founder of Pride Road, the architectural practice franchise. It's a business in a box for those who want to set up in practice. And today we're being joined by Dmitrij Burakevic. Is that the right pronunciation?
Yeah, Burakevic. It's fine.
Burakevic. Fantastic. So, yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Dmitrij, as you say. I'm an architect, been qualified since 2015. Yeah, kind of joined a fairly local practice, worked on varied material projects rather, going from like Farnborough exhibition hall to Marwell Zoo and bespoke houses. So quite a range there really. Well, I think we'll talk about it, but I'm also doing my own house at the moment, which is quite exciting. So yeah, being the client and the project manager and the designer at the same time, it's quite exciting. Ooh, I've lost you there. I can't hear what you're saying.
Sorry, that was a schoolgirl error. I was on mute.
Oh, yeah, that's seems to be the way with Zoom, isn't
it? Yeah.
Brilliant.
It shows that this is not overly edited.
Yeah, natural.
Keeping it real.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll be able to show us, point your tablet out the window to show us that you actually are in a real site, and maybe just talk a little bit about what's going on. So where, just a bit of history about you, where did you qualify? Where did you study?
So part one in Bournemouth Arts University, part two at Oxford Brookes, and part three at Kingston in London.
Fab. And how long ago when did you qualify?
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2015. It's kind of, yeah, I got so many different dates, so it's quite embarrassing actually. But yeah, 2015, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And where did you do? Where did you work? Where did you do your part threes, or where were you working when you?
So part three, so it was through the practice I'm working with now, Terence O'Rourke.
Yeah.
So they actually heard that I finished my part two and invited me to join them to work on Marwell Zoo projects.
Brilliant.
And when I heard that, it was a perfect invite. Really, it's it's quite a meaningful project for me, and actually that's the project I used for my qualification and my exams. So well, I say project, there's a series of projects throughout the master plan. So yeah, it was quite an exciting one.
So tell us a little bit more about the Marwell Zoo project.
Yeah, so started 7 or 8 years ago with an overall master plan with a few of my colleagues who were looking at it before. Basically, Marwell wanted to rethink slightly how they present the whole kind of, I don't want to say image, but actually the view, rather than the animal, say, having that feeling that it's a caged in animal that you experience. Actually, it's more like a country walk where you happen to come across animals in different habitats. And yeah, it started with phase one, which was the Wild Explorer scheme, which housed white rhinos, zebra and oryx. Then went on to the Tropical House, which was the phase two. It's quite an interesting one. Again, it's using the ETFE material inside. It was like a tropical environment that was created. Again, different species there. And then the phase three, which is unfortunately been paused because of what happened with COVID-19. Hopefully it will happen. I'm not really sure how much I should be talking about that, but yeah, it's
keep it vague. Keep it vague.
yeah. It's but it's a very exciting one if it happens, and I hope it does, because it will tie the whole master plan together, and it will be quite an exciting experience. Very immersive, and the animals at the end of the day will benefit as well, because that's kind of the focus of it. The whole mission, if you like. The Marwell team was quite amazing. We went through kind of really intricate brief, and the animal requirements. Effectively, they were the client, if you like, which is very unusual. Yeah, it's the ultimate feedback we got, for example, was when the rhinos moved in. They started running around, being really happy in the new space. So, I kind of took that they were happy from that. So yeah,
that's an interesting one. How do you mark success in a zoo?
Yeah, well, I had to, as a team, we had to go off. I can't take all the credit, obviously. There was an amazing team, from kind of the design team and client team that worked really hard and put it together. So the feedback we got from the zookeepers was that, okay, it's it seems to be, the animal welfare is met. So yeah, so it's not like in building regs you have criteria that you can go through.
Yes.
Oh, a rhino needs X, Y, Z. It's it's not so straightforward. So but yeah, luckily the expert team at Marwell could help drive that, if you like.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
It's sort of no, I'm just kind of like is happiness expressed by kind of new populations and reproduction and all that sort of stuff?
Oh, I see. Yeah, the feedback. Yeah, I mean, so again, they have a program where they're involved kind of around the world in animal preservation. So I think they brought in new rhinos, if I'm not mistaken. So, the decisions were made kind of, I suppose, based on the response of the animals that were there in the first place. So I can only go by that. Without getting too philosophical, I suppose.
Oh, brilliant. And I see that it was the project was longlisted for an RIBA award.
No, it was myself for the Rising Star long listing, and Marwell and Founder were the schemes that I used as examples, if you like. It showed variation of the projects that I get involved in through Terence O'Rourke, which is actually really quite nice. I say that a lot, that you have to, of course, specialize in certain things, but at the same time, it's nice to have new challenges. It keeps your brain evolving and adapting, I guess. Because the requirement of an exhibition hall is not the same as say a house or a zoo. So yeah, it's
and so how did that come about, the long listing for the Rising Stars?
A colleague of mine nominated myself, and I think it's very nice. But I think it's because ultimately I try to do different things, kind of not just do the 9 to 5, as they say, but actually I try to do my research bits. So I try to do a bit more, and I guess it was recognition. I don't know. It's a bit of a I don't want to get too embarrassed about it.
So tell me a bit more about the research. What projects you've been working on?
Yeah, so part of kind of, let's say, every day to day, you get certain criteria you have to meet for projects, and then sometimes you want to kind of do something a little bit different. And so with research, it gives me that opportunity. So I started looking into, well, other industries, in particular space industry, to see how they create, you know, habitats for human occupation in extreme environments. And the idea is to see, okay, well, as a collective brain, a lot of the issues we are facing, you know, we can resolve together, let's say. You know, there are some challenges that are, you know, transcend through industries, and, you know, they look at extreme environments. Well, you know, we're heading into extreme environments now with the climatic shifts, and, you know, are there lessons that can apply to infrastructure on Earth, you know, and that's kind of the idea behind that. And, you know, I met some fantastic people. That's the other thing, is, you know, perfect opportunity to speak to other industries, specialists. And yeah, it's, you know, like one of the examples is, for example, Oxford Space Systems, you know, they design satellites. But actually, when you talk to them, they will tell you, well, we learned from the fishing industry or the origami industry. You know, when they create their satellites, they stow them into a compact area. So they're using the fold patterns from origami. And then the actual surface of the satellite, they use the weave patterns, you know, that they translate from the fishing industry, because actually the way that it weaves together means that if there's, you know, a local penetration with debris or something, it won't rip the whole satellite apart. It will just stay local to that area, which is, you know, it's fantastic. It's like, wow, yes, if we combine the brain, the collective human brain, we can solve so many things. So in that sense, that kind of, you know, makes me look into, as I say, into other industries and see what I can apply to architecture, you know, that I design, and hopefully others might benefit too. You know?
So is there anything that you've learned from the space industry that you're starting to sort of apply?
At the moment, I'm actually in the middle of gathering the information. It's difficult to, you know, first, it's almost, because, as I said, because of COVID, everything had to be paused a little bit. So I was hoping to gather this data, and then at the end, in the last chapter as well, I'd bring my, let's say, architectural head and bring it together. So I haven't, let's say, exactly identified practical applications, but I'm hoping it will lead to that, and I'll be able to answer, well, you can do this, that, you know, simple things actually that come to mind is, again, the habitats. You know, it's like, you don't think about, okay, you know, if you're out in space, you have to create vegetation growth. And actually, same applies here. Well, when we design the garden, do we think about, as an architect, to create a bit of a habitat for bees so they can pollinate, you know, the landscape around? You know, it's kind of those things. It's kind of a practical, let's say, intervention. It's not always possible. You know, you don't always have, like in the urban environment, you might not have lots of space. But yeah, little kind of lessons like that is what I'm hoping to be able to extract when I finally finish. Assuming there isn't another, another pandemic happening. I hope not, anyway.
Yeah. And so you're in the middle, or you've just started Selfbuild?
Yeah, so that's right. So again, just before the pandemic hit, seems to be a theme. I got planning permission for a new build house on a plot. So there's an existing bungalow which I'm sat in now.
Yeah.
I'll try and, it's not. I'll take you over and show you that. Just walk across. It's a 1920s bungalow. It's not in the best condition, but yeah. So we had. Just turn it out the window. I don't know, can you see anything?
Yes.
So basically, you can see a lot of the garden is dug up. So I'm trying to grade, and it's.
Oh, I'm losing you. I think losing you.
Up, but yeah, it's.
I lost you a bit there, but so.
Oh,
so,
are you losing connection?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, it's probably all the rain, all the Wi-Fi is losing its connection. But I can describe it.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So initially, we purchased this property, and it had kind of lots of existing volume on site, like lots of outbuildings. The land was farmland.
Whereabouts are you in the country?
Wimborne.
Okay.
So that's down south for UK.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, but yeah. So purchased this plot of land, and as I said, there were lots of outbuildings that I've proposed to culminate into one volume. So effectively becomes an additional dwelling for my family. So got planning for that. We're in Greenbelt, Triple SI River, bats, everything, the whole thing. So I had to go through the surveys, and which is fine. It's just it meant it took a little bit of time because of the seasonal surveys and so on. But I got there in the end, and yeah, exciting. Now got my full plans, conditional approval for building regs. So now it's just go. The only thing which was interesting, I'm sure you probably came across it as well, but getting quotes for materials has been eye-opener. Literally timber has doubled in some cases since a year ago. So yeah, it's shifted the budget, but we're doing it as a self-build because my father's a carpenter. So right. We're kind of doing it together. And
what construction are you using?
So it'll be a timber frame. Obviously, you've got concrete foundations below ground, but timber frame above. And it's a bit of a bespoke hybrid, if you like, system. But yeah, it's one of those things where there might be some adjustments with like cladding and so on. But again, it's quite interesting because when you are doing it for a client, you kind of set a budget and you give the options. But when it's you yourself doing it for you and your family, you are invested emotionally. It's a bit different experience. Yeah, I've been keeping a video series where I can, telling the story of the land, kind of where it started to where it is now. And
we'll have to put a link to that in the description.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, is it? Yes, it's available on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah, I keep like a portfolio on YouTube. When I can. It's quite funny. It's you're trying to actually physically do the work, but then remember, oh wait, I should set up this camera to capture it. It's like, oh my goodness, it's
a review perspective.
Yeah, I'm trying to be helpful, help my dad, but at the same time it's like, wait, you stand there, I'll just set up this camera here, and then we'll continue the work. And it's patience.
I know filming's a dark art. I had a visitor on Tuesday coming, and so I had a film crew come to the house.
Oh wow.
And
that sounds professional.
Well, it was just to film sort of like a day in the life of an architect.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But it was hosted, it was being presented by a puppet.
Oh.
Patsy May. She's a celebrity.
There we are.
And just the the organisation involved in actually filming is just blowing. So to get something that's a 3-minute video, it takes all day.
Oh, geez. Yeah. See, yeah.
You know, professionally, yeah, I made a little video myself of kind of what was going on, not kind of too much behind the scenes, but in fact not behind the scenes at all, because you don't want to shout any opinions. But yeah, so if once I make it public, if you search for Patsy May, an architect, you should find it.
Oh, well, yeah, no, that sounds quite exciting. It's a bit of fun, you know.
It was hysterical.
Oh, gee,
it was
a little bit of a different experience, was it?
Oh, completely. Hold on, let's see if I've got anything on my screen. Hold on, right, how do I do this? I'm just trying to make sure I've not got anything too revealing on the computer. Right, I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah.
Let's see where we're
going. Oh, well.
To introduce yourselves and just talk about, describe your house as it is at the moment.
Yeah, sure. I'm Tom. I'm Sebastian. Hi. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Patsy May. We've got a 4-bed brick-built house in the leafy suburbs of South Liverpool, and we're hoping that Lisa can help us out with a few modifications, shall we say?
I'm sure she can. She's an architect. You know that?
I did. That's why we're talking.
Right. Yeah. I'm just learning this, so you know, I'm not sure what it takes, but I'll give it a go.
Well, she's doing a great job so far.
Right. We're doing business right now. Cool. Continue. Zooming. Yeah.
Wow.
That was
that's fun.
So she stayed with us all day. It was really good fun. But she's her humor's quite adult.
Oh, right.
It was supposed to be like children faces. So she was funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
That's a different. Yeah, I guess you never think to experience something like that, would you?
Okay, so we're getting to the end of the time already. See, told you to
having
go
too much fun. Yeah.
Exactly. So is there anything you want to know about Pride Road or the franchise business?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. You mentioned that my understanding is it operates like a network, and you have people involved from around the country. Is that right?
That's right. So it's a franchise business. So in the same way that like McDonald's is a franchise, except we don't produce burgers.
Oh, why not?
We produce architecture.
Yes.
But actually, it's not the architecture that's the franchise system. It's the way that we do it. So the way that we deliver our services to clients. So it's those kind of interfaces. It's how we advertise, how we promote, the branding, the marketing. And then how we manage a project. That's kind of all systemized and run in the same way.
Okay. So say if I have a large scale project, does that mean say someone in New Forest and someone in, I don't know, Manchester, I'm just making it up, but could come together and say, oh, this, let's say for just one architect it might be too much to take on, but then you can collaborate and get together on?
No, it's not. We've really specialized. We've really niched down into the kind of type of clients that we want to work with. So we just do kind of relatively low value domestic work.
Okay.
So it's kind of like 10,000 to 250,000.
Okay.
So it's kind of single story, 2-story extensions, loft conversions, that sort of stuff. The sort of stuff that's kind of like gets forgotten about by practices.
Yeah, it's Yeah, it's interesting you say that. There's almost like a stigma attached to, oh, I can't afford an architect, and and actually, in reality, it depends on the project. I think, and so that sounds fantastic. Actually, you're making, let's say, good design accessible to more people. Yeah,
That's absolutely right.
yeah.
And and there's millions of sort of 1930s semis and bungalows and sort of like terraced houses over the country, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of people there who are kind of being offered bad services by
Mm,
what they think are architects, but aren't,
yeah.
because they've not been educated properly,
Yeah.
or plan drawers, structural engineers,
Mm, mm.
and just being offered kind of bad advice.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I have recent experience of, I don't want to go into personal details, but someone actually said that I know, literally the feedback was, oh, I've got stuck with a bad architect, and I said, oh, a bad architect, and can you elaborate a little bit, so they explained the situation, and which is fine. There were some wrong, let's say, decisions made, but that's fine. And I said, the inevitable, what's the practice name, or who's the architect? And yeah, they were not an architect. They did architectural services.
Yes.
And then there's, again, it's just another reminder. I'm sure they're perfectly competent in, what they do, but actually the confusion is absolutely there. It's like, oh, well, I do architectural services. What's the difference? As a general public, you're not going to know, oh, you're not an architect, but you do architectural services. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and then it builds on that reputation of the architect. Oh, I had a bad experience. Then that word is going to spread.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, that's not a registered architect. But anyway, yeah, it's sad reality. And it's quite exciting.
Well, I'm actually, I've sort of been nominated for the RIBA National Council. So I'm hoping that I sort of that's being approved by the RIBA at the moment. Nominations, because it was quite a rigmarole to kind of get on. Anyway, but yeah, that's one of the one of the things that I'm standing on. And I was on the council a few years ago, between 2015 and 2018, and I put a motion forward about sort of adjusting the RIBA's marketing, so actually they're talking to the layperson and not just to other professional services.
Yeah.
And they have sort of finally, 3 years later, got a marketing campaign out, but it's just not far-reaching enough.
Yeah, I think, how many projects does an architect actually get involved in? It must be a small percentage. Most of it is just, generic kind of, again, not to downplay, but it's just developer stuff, and people get into the mind, oh, this is the product that's available, and that's it. And actually, I can't afford, a professional design team the trouble is then you run into problems where the mistakes are costing you way more than the involvement of a professional in the first place, which is
absolutely right. So we need to close the conversation down. There you go, half an hour. Go fast. Well, that was really good fun. So, well, thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So I'll put your links in the description. So if you've enjoyed listening to the podcast, we are available on YouTube and on Spotify. If you've really liked it, please can you like and share it? And if you want to get involved, oh, thumbs up. What's that? That's press the like button.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
that subscribe stuff, all that stuff.
Subscribe. I'm not quite used to doing that. We kind of subscribe and oh, you are. I need to look at your videos. All I know is you have to remind people to do it before you end the recording.
Yeah. Subscribe and like.
Subscribe and like. And if you're an architect and want to come on the show, contact me and I'd love to have you on as a guest. So that's me, Lisa Raynes, saying thank you and goodbye.